right, we're getting ready we have a wedding set, and it has a wedding band and an engagement ring, and both rings need some work done on them. Both rings need to be sized up, and the top of the ring where it holds the diamond is worn out. The prongs are worn out. Or not the prongs, technically, it's the tips. But because I have to size them, and they're two completely different rings, I have to size them two completely different ways. So let me show you how we do it. All right, what I'm going to do first is I'm looking to see if this ring has ever been sized before. And if it is, there will be a solder mark, and I can already see it. Let me just make sure there's not two. And I zoom in right about here and see if you can get kind of up on top. And see that line right there? The ring has been sized there before, so that's good information to have. Okay, now what I'm doing is, one, I am looking for a solder joint, but I don't believe I'm going to have one here. But most importantly, what I'm doing is I am doing a process called annealing the gold. And it's just going to make it soft and malleable so I can do the next step where I'm going to actually stretch this band so I don't have to affect the pattern on it. All right, that is sufficiently hot. Watch this. Okay, now that we have this ring annealed, it is about a 6.5, and this needs to go to a 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on this machine right here. And what happens is, when I move this handle, this bar expands. So I'm going to put the ring on here, lower it just a little bit, and every time I pump this handle and rotate this ring, it stretches it out just a little bit. So now let's see where we're at. We're not much farther than we were, so let's go a little more. So now we're super close. Look at that, right on a 7. Let's flip it around and just make sure. Look at that, right on the 7. It's almost like we know what we're doing. But in a jewelry shop, we never do just one thing at a time. So while I'm back here, this is a mold we cast yesterday. So what do you think? Did it come out good? If I'm lucky, it's going to be an oval pendant with a fingerprint on it. All right, you want to get in close here and take a look at this as soon as I find my brush. All right, the casting looks actually really good. It's 14 karat. Wait till you see it when it's finished. All right, after I've stretched the ring, remember I annealed it to kind of soften it before we stretched it. Well, now as I stretch it, you put pressure on it. So I like to anneal it again afterwards just to relax that pressure. So we're going to go through this one more time. You don't have to do this, but it's just something I always like to do, just in case, like, you get your hand caught in a door or something like that, the ring will bend and it won't snap on you. So now we'll just have to clean it and polish it. Watch this, though. Bam. On this ring, we're going to size it a little bit differently. I can't stretch it. That's not an option here. So what I'm going to do, if you remember, I was looking for a solder joint, and there it is right there. So what I want to do is cut through that solder joint, just like that. Now that we've cut through it, this ring needs to go to a 7, and it's got to go there. So you can see now I have to bridge that gap with a piece of gold. So let me find one. All right, so now, if you'll notice, I've got a piece that now fits right where I need it to fit. Now let's solder it in place. All right, you can see it? Mm-hmm. All right, this is a pro tip for all of you actual other bench jewelers out there. I want you to notice on this side, the piece is lined up way better than on the other side. And I did that on purpose because I'm going to show you something here. That's too many people try to get both sides lined up perfectly before you solder it. But what we're going to do, I only care about one side. That one. All right, so now that's soldered, we have now turned two different pieces of material, the ring and this, into one. And now let me show you how easy it is to line this one up when it's all half soldered in place. Okay, now with half of it soldered in place, look at that, a half a second to line that up, where it would have taken me 10 or 15 minutes to try to do that with the piece loose. All right, let's get this other side in there. All right, now let's start working on the retip. Now what we're going to do is, because these prongs are starting to wear out, we're just going to add some gold right back to the top of that. Look at that. Now, that metal will be what is wearing out instead of the actual prong. You're never going to stop the wear process, but you can limit its damage. If you look at the bottom, you can see where we added the new piece on the bottom. So now let's start cleaning it up. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. And remember, if you don't have a jeweler that you trust, or you don't even have a jeweler in your hometown, we'll put a link in the description below down there telling you how to send your jewelry to us. Until next time.